the seating in particular. I was going to say, what a great event. Yeah, just really awesome to have so many people here excited about what we're doing. When it comes down to it, the 4 seeds on the women's side is so important because it gives you a chance to host and play in the comfort of your own arena. It doesn't guarantee victories, we know that. And so, after that, you want to make sure you have a good matchup, and so once we dive into the teams, we'll know a little bit more about the matchup. We know that all the teams are good in March, and so, they'll present unique challenges that we've got to wrap our arms around, but just excited to get underway. It's been a while.
I think a lot of us were pretty shocked to see you all as a 6. I think a lot of us thought there would be a 4 next year. Maybe.
Yeah.
How confident were you that you might get the chance to host?
Yeah, I think we thought it was a very real possibility that we'd host. I think committees look at things really differently. Some look at how many top 25 wins. If you're looking at that, we should be hosting. They look at bad losses, we should be hosting. They look at strength of schedule, we should be hosting. But they also look at kind of what have you done in your last 10 games. And if you look at that metric more than the others, maybe other teams, clearly with giving Virginia Tech a 1, they valued that run that they're in, so kind of what they've done the last 10. And so I think they just looked at different metrics than maybe I was looking at or what they had looked at last year, perhaps. And so I was surprised as well.
But I mean, your resume looked better than last year when you got a 5.
Yeah. So I don't know enough about the S curve and how that all fits in with so many, ACC teams in, and you don't want to play them until a certain round. So I don't know some of the details on that, to be honest. But I do think there's an element of the last 10. I think some people in the media who are tracking our team more closely recognize the injury, what they played in that. I can't guarantee the committee was paying attention to that, right? And so I know it's in a note somewhere, but are they tracking those as closely as maybe the people that know our team a little bit better? So, I don't know.
What are the challenges of your first opponent is going to come out of a first 4 match?
Yeah.
So is it, now it's kind of twice the preparation?
Exactly. It's not only twice the preparation, but it's that other team. Those 2 teams have been on that floor more. So they've gotten now their feet wet on that in that arena. So it gives us a bit of a tougher run in that way. But you literally, like, once you have a minute to breathe, you start to get in and you say, okay, now here's what the tournament's about. So you turn the page pretty quickly.
So you're looking at a second straight season, if you win the first round, of having to beat a team on their home court.
Yeah, that's what everyone has to do if you're not in the top 4,
right.
Which is why that top 4 is so important. And it was within our reach. We lose, obviously, to Virginia Tech very late. We had the injuries, so we had 3 losses there, and then we lose at the possession. Didn't pull out the Duke win in the tournament. I mean, we certainly had our chances, and had a lot of wins early and then kind of got some adversity, but I think we're as healthy as we've been. And so now it's kind of that new turn the page.
What are your feelings? Are they anger, frustration? What are your feelings about that?
No, I think there's, we come into this with honestly a pretty healthy, I don't know, because we're not on the committee. So I don't know what they're going to value, right? And so I wasn't sure enough to know, to do any work ahead of time. I wasn't sure enough to make decisions about where we're staying in hotels. If we, I sort of said, we don't know enough yet. And so, it's especially with what just happen a couple hours earlier on the men's side. I'm just grateful to be in it, and know, of course, that there was another opportunity that this team has to prove how good they want to be.
But there was a sense of relief, I'm sure, that you won't get South Carolina in the Sweet 16 for the second straight year.
Yeah, that was. I think there was, especially the kids, they seem to have had a kind of visceral reaction to that, just a new team. As Matt said on the radio show, we get to play a lot of new teams now, and that's a good thing. We're kind of ready for that. And if we can, it's one game at a time, but if we can get that far, I don't hate having Virginia Tech a chance to do that. Obviously, that has been a great contest year after year after year. So, but we got to start with whether it's St. John's or Purdue. They're not bad teams. So we got to start with that issue and move on to the next.
As soon as you leave here, is it pretty much straight to work?
Yeah. So today was pretty low key. I worked out. I took a walk with my family and pretty much knew that kind of from this point forward, you lock in a very different way. So yeah, I'll have, as Mitch pointed to, I have multiple teams to watch. Usually it would have been one, and then you kind of go secondary. But now we'll try to see theme-wise the similarities that I can prepare our team for with both of those, both St. John's and Purdue. And from what I know of them, they're actually pretty different. So that'll be a challenge that we have. But that's the fun part. Just for the last week, I've just been focusing on us, and now I get to actually focus on somebody else.
What kind of environment are you expecting in Columbus?
Oh, Ohio State's a great environment for women's basketball. They've done an awesome job. They've hosted Final Fours. That's just a great venue. Like I said, I've played there before. I brought a team there before. It'll be loud. If Purdue advances, that's 2.5 hours from Columbus. So we're going into a true road environment, consecutively, and then So it's going to be a great environment, as it would have been here.
Coach,
How-
you kind of mentioned it. 2.5 hours for Purdue, but a much shorter trip than for you guys than Tucson.
Yeah, downright. Yeah,
So-
it's a Saturday start. I don't know what time the game is yet, but what's that, 6.5, 7 hours from here? I mean, it's pretty doable, But to have fans there will matter because that if Purdue wins, they will, and then we know Ohio State will. So yeah, it's a somewhat of a more regional challenge.
How's your week go with spring break going on? Does that give you more flexibility?
Gives us less practice guys.
So
Which
that's
is
not
a bit
good.
of a challenge. Yeah, it's not great. It's better for our guys. They have less on their minds. But in terms of prep, you kind of got to live with what practice guys are here. But also, we'll take a little bit of time off to get a scout ready, and then we'll head out there a little bit early just to get our feet wet in that environment. So luckily we're healthy, so we can do more against ourselves than we have been able to. But yeah.
Everybody healthy?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, with the exception of Ariel, we're as healthy as we've been.
Except what?
Except the exception of Ariel.
Oh, right.
Not all year. We're as healthy. We've got no restrictions, and that's been really
What kind
awesome.
of excitement have you detected from Kayla and Tiani, knowing that this is their first?
Yeah, literally, right? I think that they're just, every minute they're in our program, they get more and more experienced, And I told them that I met with them right after the ACC tournament and said these were a big 2 weeks for you guys, because 2 weeks for your lifespan in our program's a lot. And so hopefully they prove that they're 2 weeks better than they were in Greensboro.
And Paulina too, I assume.
Yeah, oh gosh, Paulina's just a gamer. She'll be ready. Yeah, she'll be ready.
Expecting a call from Princeton for some notes
I
on
know,
state.
from state. I mean, how cool. So we played at NC State in the tournament twice when I was there at Princeton. And then, of course, they played, obviously I played them a ton. So, Princeton's been in that gym many a times, or at least played that team many a times. And I think it's a good matchup for them. You know who I'm rooting for, too.
general excitement knowing that you could make the Final Four without having to go through South Carolina this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the more times you get a crack at it, the better, right? It's like you don't really go to, no one I don't think ever goes to their very first tournament, wins the whole thing, right? So the Sweet 16 run was really valuable for our team, right? And now it's can we get there again one weekend at a time? When I was at Princeton, I'll be honest, most of the time you're just trying to get through the first game, right? Now we'll have our eyes a bit on what's happening after this first weekend, more than just this weekend. So that's what I love, right? We're at the point where we're cracking at it, and the more cracks you get, the better your chances.
There's 8 ACC teams in the field. I think that's the most of any conference.
Yeah. It's really awesome. How many are hosting? 3, right? Notre Dame,
Duke, and Virginia
yeah.
Tech.
Yeah, and so that's, it's got the most. That's why another reason why I thought would help us. I thought our league would help us host, given the respect that the committee so clearly has for our league, right? So you have 8, but you only have 3 hosting, whereas last year we only had 2 hosting. So we've got to continue to fight that, fight how to get more consistently hosting from the ACC, given our product is so proven. You got, obviously, with what, we had done, and then NC State beat Iowa at Iowa, so we've done pretty well by some of these standards. So we just got to keep fighting year after year for that respect.
Kind of a double-edged sword when the team is so good that it beats up on each other.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, the fact that the conference is so good, especially the mids where I play. I play all the tough ones twice, a lot of the tough ones twice. But that also gets us more prepared. Again, when I came from Princeton, you've been playing teams that you've been beating pretty heavily, and then all of a sudden you get meet head on with a tournament team. That's a hard adjustment. So I feel much more prepared. I think these guys feel more prepared. And then it's just, I wish I could tell you it's easy to win in March. It's not. So whenever that ball gets rolling on Saturday, it'll be a really good team with a prideful tradition and a lot of fans. I mean, it's the same. And so it's one possession at a time. But I'm never going to get tired of being in March. Like as Matt said, I've been in 11 NCAA tournaments in 16 years, and I'll be just as excited about my 12th as I was my first.
Do coaches fill out brackets? Just curious.
We actually did one as a group last year, as a whole team, and we were just talking about it at our table. I don't remember who won, which means I did not. So hopefully this year that gets a little different. We'll figure out the men's side. We don't fill them on the women's side. I think you actually lasted pretty long last year.
I did, shockingly.
Yeah.
So I spent like 7 minutes on the wall.
That's so
2
annoying.
minutes on the wall.
Those of us that
That's
actually
so
do
annoying.
it, that's annoying.
My toddler was
I
winning
didn't
ours for most of the
That's what I mean. And I sit there and stress and really think through it.
No,
And
she
then
pointed at mascot pictures and was winning for most of it.
that's kind of what she did.
Yeah, more or less.
And did you win it last year?
No.